Hey, Amy,
Yeah, Juan.
give me that beat.
It's Baseball Shangri-La with Amy Cuevas and Juan Ramirez.
What's up, party people? She is Amy Cuevas, and I am Juan Ramirez, and you are listening or watching Baseball Shangri-La. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, write us a review, rate us, share the podcast with your friends. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button, give us a thumbs up, leave us comments. We love engaging with you guys. And finally, make sure you're following us on the socials at X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, Threads, and Twitch at Baseball Shangri-La. Let's get the show started, ladies and gentlemen. A pleasant good evening to you, wherever you may be. Amy, long time no see. ¿Cómo estás?
I know it's been what? Gosh, 2 days. I think I
I
saw you both days on the weekend.
I know. Tell me the truth. You're so sick and tired of seeing me, aren't you? Like, not only did you
Never.
see me on this show, but now this past weekend, because Amy and I, okay, before we get into this, let's just get this out of the way. I know I'm causing a lot of confusion here. Do we have any base running blunders?
I don't think so.
Okay, now that we're safe, we can move on. So, Amy and I were at the Chaquetas at Rancho Cucamonga this weekend, and things did not go as planned for many
Shocking.
for
Shocking.
many reasons. So, Amy, I want to defer to you. What were your thoughts about the Chaquetas night at Rancho Cucamonga?
I mean, was it the part where we both had tickets and
Why you got to bring up old shit? Why you got to bring up old shit?
this whole time I thought I had bought tickets and Juan was gonna come sit in my section. Turns out he had bought tickets and we showed up and we both didn't get there on time. And so for any of our tickets, we didn't get a jersey.
So let's just make something clear. What Amy is saying in a very polite way is, I'm a man and I don't pay attention. So what happened was, I'm new to this whole minor league baseball giveaway thing, so I'm not aware that it is
Same.
a free for all and that the numbers that they give out are very, very small. So, a couple of things I want to point out about this. So, I get there and the line is literally wrapped around the stadium, and there's only one entrance unless you're like a season ticket holder. Then you have that private entrance to the side over by right field, but for the most part, for Lone Mart Field, where the Cucamonga, where the Quakes play, you have to enter through the main gate, and that's where you get your giveaway. And so they were giving out these replica Chaquetas jerseys, which I really like. I really wanted one,
That was
and
the whole reason we were going.
yeah, that was the whole reason why at least I was going. Amy was a much better sport about this. She was like, "Yay, minor league baseball." I was like, "No, I want my Chaquetas jersey." So we get there, and the line is out the door, and I'm just like, "Oh!" So they were only giving out 1,500 of these jerseys. So I call Amy as I'm walking up to the line, and yeah, everybody, get comfortable, because this is going to turn into,
Hey everybody, it's story time!
so I get there, and as I'm walking up, I call Amy, and I'm going, "Please tell me you're here." I was hoping that Amy was already in line with these massive people, and Amy's telling me that she's in the hills somewhere playing. All I hear is banjo music in the background, and she's like, "I'm 15 minutes away." So I'm like, "Oh dear
And
Lord."
my friends were already there, so I let them know, "Hey, Juan's in line. I have his ticket, so he can't get in, but he said the line's so long it's not a big deal. We didn't coordinate well. Go try to find him in line."
Again, we did not coordinate because I'm a man. Amy had made this very clear to me, and for some reason, I misinterpreted all of this. So, long story short, we're in the back of this line. The line is moving, and we get what would you say? We were maybe about 20 people away from us getting into the stadium.
You mean no before we found out we weren't getting jerseys, or
Yeah.
oh no, the jerseys were gone. It wasn't
I
funny,
thought
people.
I thought they were gone when we heard the collective moan when people were like, "Oh!" Then I was just like, "Oh, we're not getting jerseys."
Oh, I knew we weren't getting jerseys when we were wrapped around the side of the stadium before we even saw the main thoroughfare. Like there was no
Okay, well,
way.
listen to the princess of positivity there. I was the princess of positivity. I was like, we might get one, we might get one.
Oh,
And
the whole time I was like, hey, at least we got hats. We already have hats.
yes, Amy definitely liked the Chaquetas hats better, and we already had those. But what cracked me up was we're inside, and I'm seeing these people just rub it in my face, walking in front of me with their Chaqueta replica 99 jerseys on, and Amy's looking at me making a Fuji face, going, "Man, the quality of these jerseys is horrible. You should be happy you're not getting one of these."
I said that to make you feel better.
Oh, so really you were lying? And the real truth was is like,
if I had gotten a jersey, I would have been happy, but we did not get them. And you know what? Good for everybody who did. We got hats. We were also supposed to be sitting in the same section, but we were in two separate sections. So
again, I messed that one up because I thought I bought seats in the same section, same row that Amy was sitting in. And apparently I just don't know how to follow directions. So I am don't ever. This is why Amy is the admin on this show, because I just cannot do the most simplest task. The other thing that sucked was we were watching the game in the rain, and it was. I mean, Amy again was prepared because Amy, I was not aware, is a survivalist. Amy has this bag that she carries, takes her that just has like everything in it. You're like
I'm
Mary
Mary
You know that?
Poppins.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad you knew that's where I was going. You are Mary Poppins. Whatever you need, Amy will pull out of her bag. So she pulls out this rain poncho and she's completely covered. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there getting, soaked because I'm an idiot. It wasn't like it was a downpour. It was a slow, steady rain. And again, that was not in the plans for me for us to watch a minor league baseball game where I'm sitting in the rain.
I mean, I was dry until I walked to my car, and then the rain obviously hit my jeans as I was going. But like for the most part, sitting in those seats, my rain poncho, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, so they ended up calling the game. So we didn't even get to watch the whole game. We
But
did see
Ashley Kelly and her family got to throw out the first pitch, and we also got to see where are in my notes. What was it?
we saw some of these famous prospects. Oh,
Mariachi Garibaldi de Jaime Cuellar. So we got to see
right.
them, and they were right in front of us on top of the dugout. Amazing. They did so great.
Make sure you check out our social media so you can see how they invited me to be a part of the show, and
they did not. They did not.
No,
so
I
in
see
case
what
you guys
happened.
are curious, they did not.
What had happened was they got on top of the dugout and they gave me a song cue, and I just jumped in because you guys all know the musical stylings. I mean, they called me,
or he stood up in his seat, turned around, and decided to make it his song. I mean, whichever way you look at it, whatever.
Some people are aware I'm a lounge singer, 2 shows nightly at the Pacoima Hilton. Everybody,
okay, Milli Vanilli, you lip synced the whole way.
How dare you? They won a Grammy. They are Grammy Award winners.
Didn't they get stripped of it too?
Again, why are you coming in with facts? Why you got to bring up old shit, Amy?
My bad. But we did. So in addition to the cool players' jerseys, we got to see Josue de Paula, Zaire Hope, and Jake Geloff, I believe is his name. So we got to see some of the guys that we saw for a minute in spring training. So it was kind of cool just to see those guys. We did find out they were playing the Stockton Ports. So, until the game got suspended, but it was cute.
They were the Oakland A's low A affiliate, but I will say this: Zaire Hope is off to a very nice start down in Rancho Cucamonga. He's hitting over 300. Jose de Paula is struggling a little bit to start the season. Hopefully that thing turns around. I know he is considered a highly anticipated prospect for the Dodgers, so it is interesting to be able to go down there and see these prospects and be able to measure their growth, to be able to see when they are going to make their next move. Before we start talking about the show pods, though, Amy, I do want to say this. One of our loyal listeners, a really big supporter of the show, Jose Ayala, because he is very daring, made a wager with us. And it was just a friendly wager. There was nothing put out there, but he bet us that by the end of the week on Sunday, the end of the Show Pod series, that Shohei Ohtani would be leading the Dodgers in home runs. And I know in that first game of that Show Pod Dodger series, Jose Ayala was really feeling himself when Ohtani hit that home run. But unfortunately, Jose, it did not come through. You lost. I don't know yet what, I'm not going to say it's your punishment, but I don't.
Don't you speak to Jose that way.
No. This is what I want to propose to Jose. And Jose, you let us know if you're okay with this. Whenever someone makes a wager and they win,
I get veto power over whatever you're about to say.
You always have veto power over anything I say. But this is what I want to propose. And Jose Ayala, you let us know if you're okay with this. Whenever anybody makes a wager, a bet, and if they win, I say they get the Jose Ayala I'm Feeling Myself award. That's if they win. I don't know what we give people if they lose. That is still up for debate.
It's just, you get cred. You get cred.
Yeah, you don't like the Jose Ayala I'm Feeling Myself award?
I'm sure we can. Yes, we can do that if you want.
Jose, I don't think she's sold on it. Let us know.
I mean, we can do that, but we're not doing a punishment if people don't, because I don't want to dissuade anybody from commenting because they're like, oh, I don't want the punishment. Whatever that might be meted out.
Look, you guys chime in. You let us know if you're watching us on YouTube. Leave it in the comments if you think there should be an award if you lose, or what do you guys think about the Jose Ayala I'm Feeling Myself award if you win the bet? If you are listening to us on the podcast, make sure you send us your suggestions on social media. Hit us up on Instagram or on X with your suggestions to that. And then the other thing I would like to point out, I did get to meet very briefly one of our listeners when we were down at Rancho Cucamonga, and his name was Christopher. So it was a real pleasure to get to meet Christopher, and I thank him in person for supporting the show. So Christopher, it was really nice meeting you, and hopefully next time it won't be so rushed. So again, guys, when
you were trying to get a jersey that wasn't even there to be got.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to get a jersey. I didn't mean to be rude. So the only reason why I went to this game, and I didn't get my giveaway.
You didn't have any stickers on you? Oy.
I know. I'm again. We have clearly made it clear that I am the most disorganized person on the show, and this is why you're the star. And I just ride your coattails. I'm just along for the ride. Amy, any last things before we start talking about this Show Pod series?
I mean, Mookie Betts is still leading, I believe, with 6 home runs. Teoscar has 5, and I think Shohei is sitting at 4.
That is correct. So, yeah, things. Let's get into it. It's some rough times. If you go back here with the Dodgers,
It's baseball. It's baseball. Go on.
All I'm saying is if you go back to the Chicago series, con los Cachorros in Chicago, they lost 2 out of 3 there. They bounced back nicely against the Gemelos and won 2 out of 3. Okay. But the Show Pods, so far this year against the Show Pods, they've only played them 4 times, but they've lost 3 out of 4. This was a series that you could sit there and say the Dodgers could have won 2 out of 3 very easily instead of losing 2 out of 3. But I think it's.
Are we about to have a base running blunder? Because we played the 2 in Seoul, and then we had the 3 this weekend. 5.
Thank you for correcting me on that. So
go back.
So they've lost 3 out of 5 to the Show Pods. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that, partner. I think it's fair to say that they're inconsistent. They've played inconsistent. They have not looked sharp this week. Can you give me at least that?
I think they're finding their stride. You've got a bunch of stuff that's been going on since the beginning. You got players when we first started jet lagged. You've got stuff going on outside of baseball. You've also got some players are not feeling well. So, stuff's going to happen. We're not going to win every game. Does it feel good? No, but I think they're all finding their stride. Like Shohei was working on his timing. I think some of these other guys, like Teoscar's he's getting a little bit hotter there. So, I mean, everybody's just, there's some players that are still really working on finding it.
Yeah, and I'm not even getting to those guys. But I will say this. In terms of Friday's game, that was a very winnable game for the Doyers. I mean, when you score 7 runs in a game, I think that's enough. That's enough for you to be able to win that game.
Where's my soapbox? I gotta drag it out here. I gotta drag out my soapbox because while we did great getting those hits in, scoring some RBIs, all of our hits were on home runs, and that's, in my opinion, not sustainable. So I'm going to pull out my small ball soapbox again, because I think in cases like this, it's great to bolster the offense with a lot of those home runs. But if you can't move the next guy over, and the only way that you can do that is with home runs, which is how we got all of ours on Friday, that's a problem. Especially when we get into extra innings, we have that placed runner and we can't move him over. That's a challenge.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Amy. Amy, as you guys will soon discover, is a champion of small ball. And for me, as much as I want to sit there and bag on the Dodgers, I have to give all the credit to the show pods on Friday, because they were down 7-3. And I know they said this on the telecast. If this was last year's show pods team, I think they might have folded up camp and said, hey, we'll get him next day. We'll get him tomorrow. But they kept fighting, and they found a way to tie the game. What? You don't think so?
No, because I think the show pods always play up to the Dodgers no matter what. So maybe with another team, perhaps, but I don't think with the Dodgers. I don't think they never really phone it in. I mean, you do have some hustle issues here and there, but they show up.
I know the bullpen took some strays over the weekend, but I will say this in regards to Friday's game. Brazier had a rough inning, and it blew up. It got out of hand for him in that inning. But I will say this: the pitch that he made to Tatis, I give all the flores in the world to Tatis, because that pitch was inside, and Tatis just did an amazing job of hitting, pulled in his hands, and I think we really underestimate how strong that dude is, because not only did he pull in his hands, he still, after pulling in his hands, had enough power to hit that out to left center. So I give my flores to Tatis for that one. He just beat Brazier. It's a competition, and he beat Brazier.
That's baseball. I think I was a little confused that we had Yarbrough in the 9th inning, and then we pulled him, since he is typically a multi-inning pitcher, and we pulled him.
It was the 10th inning.
I thought we brought Vesia in the 10th inning.
They lost in 11. That's when they
11?
brought in. That's when they brought in.
No, you're probably right. I thought it was 10.
No, because the thing, I know a lot of people brought that up because Yarbrough only.
You're right.
Pitched,
Yes, he pitched in the 10th.
You say?
You're right.
What did you say?
You're right.
I can't hear you. Sometimes these headphones, they're really, really bad.
You're right.
It's amazing when you whisper, I hear you so clearly. The reason why Yarbrough went only 1 inning, and we're going to talk about this in the next episode, was I think the Dodgers already knew about the Bobby Miller situation at that point, and they were saving Yarbrough because they were going to need Yarbrough, as we can see in the National Series. So
which is unfortunate that it was the 1 inning where, I think Vesia is also working out some stuff, but he has given up a run. I mean, which this is not a knock on him, because that's going to happen. The whole point is to hit against the pitcher. But when we're in such a close game, it was just like, oh, do we just leave Yarbrough in 1 more inning, or, and then replace it? And that's the gamble, right? That's baseball.
If the Dodgers were not in the situation that they're in right now with injuries, I think they would have left him in to finish that game. But to your point about small ball, in the bottom of the 10th, That's where they had the opportunity to win that game, Amy. And that's where your small ball that you preach all the time came into play. You had a runner on second with no outs, and you couldn't move him over in that first batter. And I know that Chris Taylor is off to a horrendous start.
He's
And
got
I
a 31.031 batting average. He's struggling. And they have said that they changed his swing 2 years ago and tried to get him hitting more for the launch angle and realized over the last 2 years, if you look at his batting average, not great. It didn't work. And so they're trying to get him back to where he was prior to that. But that's going to take some time. And unfortunately, I think he's like 0 for 33, 0 for 33 right now or something like that. Maybe not but like it's minimal. And he went 0 for 5 that night. And hopefully he can find his stride.
Yeah, and I don't want to spend too much time into Chris Taylor because we're going to get into that, I think, in the next episode. But that was a huge part of the game on Friday, the Dodgers' inability to execute small ball. And I think you make a very excellent point. It's the Earl Weaver way of playing baseball where you just wait for the 3-run home run. But the show pods were able to execute in the next inning. The Dodgers were this close. Vesia was this close to getting out of that inning. But the show pods rookie, Jackson Merrill, I want to give him his flores. He did something that again, he hit the ball to the left side of the field. Based on how the Dodgers were playing him defense, it's not like he hit that ball hard, but he hit it at a place where they weren't, and that was the difference in the game. The Dodgers and none of the Dodgers hitters in the 10th inning could do that. I understand that is frustrating, but if you do that, if you find that you win that game and you win the series, and I think we could still probably be having the same conversation that they don't look sharp, but it's not as doomsday as everyone is acting right now, where it's like, what's going on with the Dodgers, right, Amy?
They didn't lose by like horrible margins either. They played good baseball. They just got outplayed in some of these instances. Friday, they lost 7-8. They won 5-2 on Saturday, and then they lost 3-6 on Sunday. But like, it's not like they got totally blown out in these games and they weren't showing up. They showed up to play. It just, in these cases, in 2 of the games, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, and I will say that Sunday game, look, guys, I don't want to spend much time on that Sunday game because that was just horrible. I mean, it was almost historical in how horrible it was. The Dodgers had issued 14 bases on balls in that game, and they hadn't done that since 1962. I believe the record, I think you might have it, Amy. The record was, I think, 16 bases on balls. So this is what I'm talking about. That game should have been a blowout. The show pods should have blown the Dodgers out of the water with the amount of bases on balls, the number of runners. Paxton found a way to get out as you know, to try to get out of those jams until he couldn't get out of those jams.
And I mean, you also had 2 rain delays that played into it. Saturday night, you had a 2+ hour rain delay. You had another like 30-ish one. They didn't start till 4:45 on Sunday. It's gonna wear on you. The Padres were able to, we won Saturday, but the Padres were able to come through on Sunday, and it makes for good baseball though. We want to see how this stuff plays out. We don't want to, nobody is showing up to watch one team just win every single game. That's not exciting. So this is what's going to happen. This is the telenovela that we love, that is baseball.
I will say this. I only have one Care Bear stare to give out this weekend, and it's to Gavin Stone. To me, Gavin Stone was the most positive thing that happened to the Dodgers this weekend. He went 6 2/3, only gave up 2 earned runs. He desperately gave them length when they needed it. The bullpen absolutely needed that because, once again, Yamamoto only went 5 innings on Friday. So I think it was very encouraging to see. Look, and you mentioned it, there was a very long rain delay for Gavin Stone on Saturday, and it didn't affect him. He didn't allow it to affect him. So my Care Bear stare goes to Gavin Stone in that show pod series. Gavin, I hope this is encouraging. I expect there's going to be inconsistency with him for the rest of the season. We'll have one good start and one bad start, but for this time, hey, Gavin Stone, you get a Taco Care Bear stare. you have any Care Bear shares you want to issue from the show pod series?
I do. Mine is for Will Smith. Just his take on that benches clearing on Saturday because it just seemed kind of silly to me. I kind of agreed with his take because uh no knock on Profar. He's the player that he is, but it seemed weird to clear the benches on something like that when he was ahead in the count. When he did not get thrown out, but people are entitled to their opinions. And so I don't know. I just like, Will Smith is kind of a no nonsense guy. And I liked his take when he was being interviewed by Dave Vasse, and it made me smile. So he gets my Care Bear stare.
And to Profar's credit, he did come the next day and clear up that he was wrong, that he was out of line, that he shouldn't have reacted that way. And you know what? That kind of accountability, I think, was good baseball karma for him because he came up with a very big hit on Saturday.
He's the reason that they came back in that game.
He was the difference in the game. And I know that some people were critical of James Outman on how he played that ball. Look, whether he plays it and yes, I understand that Profar wasn't even running hard out of the box, and that probably should have been a triple. If Outman plays it differently, it's still a double. 3 runs still end up scoring, guys, is what I'm saying. But I don't think Will Smith meant it this way, but the Mr. Irrelevant comment that all of a sudden now the show pods are grabbing onto and turning into a thing. It is bulletin board material, and you're out there playing again. So as much as we don't like when people talk shit on the Dodgers, there's other teams and they have their other fans. And I don't think Will Smith meant it in a disrespectful way, but it is kind of, nobody wants to be called irrelevant, especially when you're a major leaguer.
Yeah, I would agree. So small ball, let's try to play more of that.
Now, why don't you guys listen to Amy? They should just let Amy manage this team and just play small ball and we'll win every game.
Whoa, I'm not advocating for that. Those guys know what they're doing in the front office. They'll figure it out. Our offense, our pitching, our defense, they're probably all gonna get in line at maybe different points in the season. And that's baseball.
Let's wrap up the show, Amy, with so I was there on Sunday, and yeah, at that point, I was really sick and tired of watching baseball in the rain. Not only had I watched a minor league baseball in the game on Saturday, but then I show up on Sunday to watch the Doyers and the show pods, and there's more rain. But that particular game, and I know you didn't catch this when it happened, Amy, because you were in the press box and you were live. But when Manny Machado came up and he, as much as we hate Manny Machado, guys, that guy's so good. He really is good. And so when he hit that home run in the pavilion and there was a guy who caught it, and I could see it on the where I was sitting in the loge, because I'm a loger, I had the monitor right above me. So I could see that the ESPN broadcast was showing the replay of this dude catching Machado's home run ball. And in the process, when everyone in the pavilion, all the left field pavilion locals start yelling at him to throw it back, he reaches into his hoodie pocket, pulls out a baseball and throws that one on the field, and he keeps the one that Machado hit. And he got caught. ESPN kept replaying it, and then they even interviewed him during the broadcast, and he admitted, yeah, I got caught. Amy, your overall thoughts on that whole switcheroo?
This is such a non-story. I don't even know why we're talking about it. Like, everybody knows that people in the pavilion do this. Like, if I was sitting in the pavilion, I might want to keep that ball. I've never caught a foul ball. I've never caught a home run ball. I might want to keep it. I have a buddy who used to sit in the pavilion. He'd bring balls. He'd even write notes on them like, this team sucks or whatever. And that's the ball he would throw back if he caught one. I don't know why this is even a story. I'm not going to say everybody in baseball knows this happens, but enough people know that this is a thing. Why are we? It's not like this was a milestone ball for Machado. This was his 4th home run of the season. Why is this a story?
It's very interesting that you bring that up, Amy, and that is because I don't believe that everyone knows. Because even the guy, when he was being interviewed by ESPN, he had said he had referenced the ball hawks, and that is something that maybe not everyone is familiar. There are literally people who will sit out in the pavilion, and the whole reason why they're out there is because they want to catch a home run ball. There was a guy that I talked to who was sitting in the left field pavilion, and every time Shohei was going to bat, he would run over to the right field pavilion, even though he didn't have a seat, because he wanted to catch one of Shohei's home run balls. And this is what, to bring in what you're talking about here, Amy, with the milestones. There is a milestone coming up, and that is Shohei Ohtani right now is tied for most home runs in Major League Baseball by a Japanese-born player.
Okay, but I guess this isn't like a news flash, though. Like, we can all track this information. Of course, people want to catch that ball. Like, that's where I'm just like,
but I don't think people were too familiar with the switcheroo that you're talking about. I don't think people are too familiar with the fact that they have other balls. Because one of the things that guy, when he was getting interviewed by ESPN, he kept talking about the pressure that he gets to throw back the ball.
Which is why people do this in the first place. That's why when I sat out there, I'd go with a buddy. I'd always keep an extra ball in my bag. Like, because you're going to get yelled at. And if I want to keep that ball, I'm going to keep it. And I'm going to throw another one back just to get everybody off my bag.
Doesn't that suck, though, that you're going to a game and you have to deal with the peer pressure from the people sitting around you?
Sure, but how are you going to change it? How are you going to change that whole mentality of an entire section of the stadium that is going to yell to throw it back? So people have come up with a creative way to, okay, I can make you happy and I can make myself happy at the same time. I guess to me, however, whether you decide to do it that way or you decide to be the person that holds on the ball and not throws it back and the crowd is upset around you, so what? Does it impact anybody else's viewing of the game? Oh, I'm bummed you didn't throw it back. Oh my God, you ruined my game. Like, so what? Like,
so this is going to lead us into the final update before we end the show. So let's go to the update desk. So Amber Roman, who caught Ohtani's first home run as a Dodger, was brought back to Dodger Stadium on Friday's game. And the picture was posted of her and her husband. They got to meet Ohtani. I don't know if they gave them, correct me if I'm wrong, did they give him another set of autographed balls and bats? Because that's what she's holding in the picture.
Maybe. Yeah, possibly.
So
whether it's the same or bonus stuff, yes.
So the Dodgers tried to right that wrong with her, but the important thing that came out of there was they were going to revisit their policy in terms of authenticating baseballs, especially with milestone baseballs. And I had mentioned that there is another milestone coming, and it is for Ohtani to become the all-time leader in home runs hit by a Japanese-born player. I am very curious to see what happens with the person who catches that ball and how the Dodgers handle it with their new policy, because what I am concerned about, and this is the reason why I brought up this whole topic, Amy, is there are people, these ball hawks that are out there that want to catch that ball and they want to go ahead and hold Ohtani for ransom. I've already heard it. I heard it on Dodger Talk when people are talking to David Vassett, and they're like, no, I'm going to keep that ball because I'm going to be able to get this much amount of money for it. And even Vassett was just sitting there going, but shouldn't the ball just go back to Ohtani? Why should you get rich off of the fact that you just, okay, you're totally over me in this topic, aren't you?
Does this impact anybody else's, like, if you're sitting in Loge, how is this impacting you watching the game? Whoever catches it, like,
you're right.
I just don't understand. Like, to me, this is like we're making more drama out of something. Like, somebody's going to catch it. They're either going to authenticate it or they won't. They're going to hold the team for ransom, whether they're owed anything or not. I guess for me, like, it's just such a non-issue. I'm just like, okay, I guess we'll see how it plays out. But, like, I'm still going to be sitting in my seat watching the game. Like, I'm there for the game.
You are, but there's people out there in the pavilion that are not. They're clearly there to conduct business. And this is why, again, I say it is important that the negotiation is going to take place there, and you can't let them leave the stadium because of, guys, what the switcheroo did. Can you imagine? And I know you won't deal with a situation like that because no one's going to throw that Otani ball back onto the field, right? But if someone has balls, more than one, okay, I walked right into that one. All right, guys, I'm gonna. Eso es lo que dijo ella. But if you have guys out there with multiple baseballs and they're pulling those switcheroos in, I know with the Otani ball, they have it specifically marked so they can make it easier to authenticate. I know you don't think this is interesting. For me, I find it fascinating, this game within the game that's going out, because the Pavilion is a different way of life out there, man. I mean, those people, they have fun out there, but this whole ball hawk society, I find it fascinating because there's that Hempel kid who goes to like different stadiums and tries to catch as many home run balls. They even made a documentary about him.
But at the end of the day, I guess for me, like if you subscribe to that and you want, like, I'm not knocking the people in the Pavilion, do what you want to, like, but that's between whoever catches it and the Dodgers. Like it's I guess for me, it's not going to impact how I watch the game. So that's where it just doesn't land for me. Like, I guess that's interesting, but I feel like some people are looking at it as an opportunity to see the Dodgers fail again too. And to me, it's like, I just want to watch the game. So this is where my view is just going to be like, I don't know.
And this is why I sit in the loge, because I don't have to worry about ball hawks in the loge section. So that's going to do it for this episode of Baseball Shangri-La. Any last words, Amy, before we wrap things up?
No, I've got none. I'm out of words.
All right, everybody. Amy's out of words. So make sure, for those of you who are listening on the podcast, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Rate us, write us a review. Spread the word. Let people know about the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us comments. Let us know what you think about the Jose Ayala I'm Feeling Myself Award or anything else that we discussed on the show. Make sure you're following us on social media, on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, Threads, and Twitch at Baseball Shangri-La. She is Amy Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. You have been watching another episode of Baseball Shangri-La. Nos despedimos con un beso. Amy, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.